All right, let's see if I remember how to do this. Last time I promised there'd be a little bit less wrench turning and more flying, so I promised to get to that as quickly as possible. I have a number of items to get out of the way, including an announcement, which is potentially exciting for me at least. So I've continued on collecting flight data, VX, VY, cruise numbers, that kind of stuff. To make that possible, I tapped into the ability for the MGL Flight Data recording system, which I thought I'd have to turn on and set up and all that. It turns out it's always recording data, no matter what you're doing. I've previously mentioned that MGL has a utility that lets you take that DAT file, I think they're called, put it in there, and then you can collect all those parameters. It's, try to be kind, it's kind of messy. However, there is a guy, he posted on the MGL, I should say the unofficial MGL user group on Facebook. His name is Michael Jackson. He created a utility I paid $49 for, and it is actually a much better utility than the one created by MGL. And that's allowing me to just fly the airplane, not worry about it. I just set a pitch attitude, fly that for a while, set a different pitch attitude, fly that for a while. And then I can go back, I can look at those columns where there's steady information and I can extract, and that's where I got my VX and VY. Segue to the propeller. This is a Sensenich. I recently learned that's how you pronounce it. I've been saying Sensenich the whole time. Carbon fiber 2-blade, ground adjustable. The claim to fame is it comes with a set of these gauge pins. This one labeled number 5, number 4. When you buy the prop, set it up, they tell you to set up number 4. And if you've been watching my videos at all, you might recall that on one of my first flights, beating up the pattern here, where I didn't know how to access the SD card information, I was just calling out numbers for my climb performance, and I made a comment in there that I was overpropped, meaning that I thought I had too much pitch set. Then in the edit for that video, I said disregard, and the reason I said that is because I should not be able to see redline 2380 RPMs on climb out. And I had never taken the airplane out and just shoved the throttle in, saw how fast it went, and see if it ever exceeded that 2380. So that's why I made that comment disregard. However, in some of the runs I was making down to Shelton, I did let the airplane run, and I found out that I was not getting 2380. So I decided to repitch for number 3. I'm still not at redline and level flight, but I think I gained 50 RPM. So it's quite possible I'm gonna repitch again for setting number 2 and recollect some data. I have alluded to doing manifold pressure before. My RDAC, I think it's an XF model, allows me to collect that. I've also obtained this extra intake manifold. This is a number 5 for oil drain purposes, but it's by putting it on the uphill side of the engine where it's unlikely to collect any goo. I'm gonna swap this out. This is an 1/8 inch NPT. I'm gonna put a 90-degree elbow snubber with a 15 thou hole in it to modulate the pulses so it reads correctly, and run that to the RDAC. Why do I want manifold pressure? Well, before I said I was just geeking out. Not so much. So manifold pressure is going to allow me to assess these prop pitch changes or prop diameter or whatever props I go to in the future, including that Meglin 3-blade. The other reason is because I need to adjust my mixture on this airplane. Idle mixture, I'm going to cover in just a minute, but main jet mixture, which is actually swapping jets, not adjusting anything, is done by assessing manifold pressure in flight, and without that, the methods are kind of a guess and kind of crude. Idle mixture is just an adjustment of a linkage out here, so that's because ceilings are a little bit low today. I can't fly. I'm going to pull this airplane out, warm it up, hook it to my pachyderm over here, and then set about adjusting that. Very clear instructions in the airflow performance manual. Idle mixture adjustment is by lengthening or shortening this thing right here, and I already have the jam nut backed out, so that's not a normal situation. I just loosened it before I pulled it outside. Just check the AFM manual. It says to lean it out, you shorten it. To make it rich, you extend it. Alright, I do a lot of dumb stuff, but one of them is not going to be standing right next to a running propeller while I'm making this adjustment. What I'm going to do is, manual suggests turning that linkage one flat at a time, and then reevaluating. And what you're looking for is you lean it out, old school. You're looking for an increase in RPMs before it wants to die. You keep backing it off more and more lean until it doesn't have that incline anymore, and then maybe back in a little bit. Anyway, enough of that. Let's go flying. Hopefully my cameras are charged and I have enough SD cards to go around.
Go tower, Kitfox, 27 Kilo Foxtrot, holding short 17 Alpha 17 departure.
Kitfox, 57 Kilo Foxtrot, come tower, 17 from takeoff.
Go for takeoff, runway 17, make sure minimal 527 Kilo Foxtrot.
I don't know how the rest of this episode is going to go. Did do a flight yesterday, put about 4 hours on the airplane, flew over to Randall, got Gary in his plane. We did a flight of 2, went back to Randall, and then I flew back home. Come to the conclusion that the prop set on pin number 3 is just about perfect. I was able to get 2,300 RPMs in cruise, give me 80 to 82 knots average. It was pretty bumpy yesterday, so not perfect numbers, but I'm going to leave the prop alone. Other than balancing, thankfully Gary has the Dynavibe set up, so next month. Oil temperatures, you might remember how I had installed the crankcase breather system. You can see right now it's missing. So well over a month ago, I flew to Gary's house when it was pretty warm outside. I also made a couple flights down to Shelton where I was climbing at VX and just really wringing it out. Never saw 70 degrees Celsius on the oil temperature. Yesterday, I'm going to mix and match my numbers. It was 82 degrees Fahrenheit here. Did that whole flight with Gary, and I saw 70 degrees one time. So anyway, Blue Octopus is gone. Lastly, before I run off to work for 3 weeks, this has nothing to do with the Kitfox. This is a center console I made for the T28. Drew with all up SolidWorks. I hadn't made a send cut send. It just showed up yesterday. I pinned everything together. It fits perfect. This is going to be a Becker transponder, a MGL com radio, Hobbs meter. This is going to be the oil shutoff feature, which keeps the oil up in the tank behind a gate valve. And it has a fail-safe that doesn't let you start the engine unless the gate valve's open. That's part of the Darton Clean Kit sold by Mike Moraski. The rest of this is going to be restoring all of the armament control panel. And all that's just for fun and authenticity and warbird. The other project I was working on when I was holding down our recliner in Reno was devising a speed ring. I was trying to find the formulas that are used to create a speed ring, because obviously there's some math involved. And went all the way back to the inventor of the idea. It's called a Townend ring. And a little bit of Google searching, I was able to find some formulas that resulted in a ring which actually looked kind of awkward to me. It was only a 6-inch cord. I got a bum steer on that direction of the incidence. But everything I draw in SolidWorks is parametric, so I could just go in and fix it. So I was able to try some different lengths of cord. Did some more searching. The predecessor to NASA was NACA. That's where the term speed ring came from. I have their old technical paper, which basically shows that no matter what you do up here, it's more efficient than nothing, and that I could expect significant drag reduction and improved cooling by running speed rings. So I ended up drawing up another one with the NACA 4412 airfoil. It actually looks pretty cool. I tried different lengths, 12 inches, 10. Again, my model is parametric. I can make it be whatever. Last bit of news, I have taken over as the West Coast of the US and Canada distributor for the Verner engine. So if you are crazy enough to want to install one of these in your airplane, get a hold of me. On the flight yesterday, we had, I don't know, 4 or 5 cameras running. So hopefully between the two of us, we got at least 10 seconds of footage that I can share here. Anyways, a ton of fun. Looking forward to doing quite a bit more of that. We'll see you next time.